They came as liberators, waving flags, promising reunion. The Republic of China had returned. Not as conquerors, but as brothers. At least, that's what they said. The Japanese Empire was gone. Its language erased, its portraits torn down. In its place, new faces, new uniforms, new rules. At first, there was hope that Taiwan could finally belong to something greater. But the guns never left, and the promises began to crack. It began with a slap. A woman selling cigarettes, beaten by government agents. Crowds gathered. Shots were fired. And the island ignited. In February 1947, Taiwan rose up. Against corruption, against violence, against broken promises. For a moment, it felt like a reckoning, but the answer came quickly. And without mercy. Kai-shek sent troops from China. Within days, the killing began. Students, writers, doctors, mayors, dragged from homes, lined up in schoolyards, executed in silence. No trials, no records, no graves. Taiwan had asked for justice. What it received was terror. In the aftermath of the 228 massacre, a new silence took hold. One enforced not by bombs, but by paper, by laws, by fear. In 1949, the KMT fled to Taiwan after losing the Chinese Civil War. They brought their army, their archives, their authoritarianism. Martial law was declared, and it would not be lifted for 38 years. You could be arrested for reading the wrong book, or saying the wrong name, or singing the wrong song. The prisons filled. Trials were held in secret. Confessions extracted by force. On Green Island, dissidents were re-educated. Or never seen again. Neighbors became informants. Children watched parents disappear. A system of control, wrapped in the language of national security. But what it really protected was power. To rule Taiwan, the KMT believed they had to remake it. Japanese names were scrubbed from buildings. Japanese was banned in schools. Even Taiwanese languages, Hokkien, Hakka, indigenous tongues, were silenced. Only Mandarin was allowed, the language of the new rulers. Children were taught that Taiwan was not a nation, but a province, a stepping stone to retaking the mainland. Textbooks rewrote the island's past. Heroes became traitors. Histories were erased, maps redrawn. A 1,000-year memory, replaced with a single narrative. To survive, you learn to forget, to speak differently, to think carefully, to obey. It wasn't just censorship, it was identity, systematically rewritten. The most dangerous thing in Taiwan was a thought. Newspapers printed what they were told. Books were banned before they were read. Plays were rewritten. Songs erased. Phone lines were tapped. Letters opened. Classrooms monitored. At night, people whispered, or didn't speak at all. A wrong word could bring a knock at the door, a visit from men with no names. People vanished, into prison, into exile, into graves without markers. Even inside families, trust was not guaranteed. Children were taught, don't ask questions, don't stand out, don't talk politics. Fear became tradition. Silence, survival. But silence doesn't mean surrender. Not always. In exile, voices spoke. From Tokyo, from New York, from Paris. Taiwanese students and writers planted the seeds of a new movement. Inside Taiwan, others found quiet ways to resist. A poem passed by hand. A play with double meaning. A whispered name remembered in the dark. On Green Island, prisoners carved words into stone. They taught each other history from memory. They refused to forget. Artists painted what could not be said. Mothers lit candles no one could see. And in every act of remembrance, a rebellion. The regime held the guns, but the people held the future. An entire generation learned to keep secrets, to nod politely, to survive. Trauma was inherited, not through stories, but through what was never spoken. A father who never explained why he looked over his shoulder. A grandmother who changed the subject when asked about the past. Wounds that never closed, because they were never acknowledged. Even after martial law ended, the silence lingered. Some said, forget. Others said, forgive. But the truth remained, buried in archives, in unmarked graves. In the quiet spaces between generations. Taiwan had become a place where remembering was itself a radical act. For nearly 4 decades, Taiwan lived in the shadow of silence. But shadows don't last forever. The voices once silenced began to rise. In art, in protest, in song, the past could no longer be hidden, and a new generation demanded to know not just what had happened, but who they truly were. The road ahead would not be easy, but the silence had been broken. Next time, 2 Chinas, 1 island, a government in exile, a nation divided, and an island caught between memory and might.